Hi everybody. I thought to do a little bit of a drawing tutorial with you in Illustrator, and I thought, okay, so what will we do just to kind of practice your drawing skills? And then I kind of went to my favorite place called Pinterest, and I kind of looked through a few app icons, and I thought maybe that's a nice starter to kind of look at how to draw some icons in Illustrator. And when I saw this, I thought that's also very nice because we kind of stay into the new morphism area where we kind of are finding ourselves at the moment. So I thought, I thought I'll do a little drawing tutorial with you in Illustrator. So this is actually what we're going to draw. So let's go into Illustrator. I've made a new document, and it is my favorite. It's 1920 by 1080. All right, and then I'm going to place, which is under File Place. I've got a shortcut key for that, but it's under File Place. Then we're going to bring in that image that I've obviously saved. It's in a folder called Assets, which is in some extra classes that I'm busy preparing for you. So we're going to place that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw from this as my inspiration. And what does this actually mean is that I am going to make this layer a template layer. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to source the colors from this image so that I have them in my swatches palette. The quickest way that I do this is by actually just creating a few blocks, and then with one block selected, I draw eye for eyedropper, and I actually just pick the color that I want. So I'm going to do a few. I'm going to do a few of those. So I'm just doing a Shift-Alt-Drag. And then I'm going to source some more color. So I select the block, and I'm going to source this kind of little bit of white. Next one is I'm going to do the light pink. Next one, I'm going to select the block, and I'm eyedrop this very dark pink, kind of the mid pink. Another mid pink, and then I'm going to source the yellow as well. All right, once you've got your all your colors, what you want to do next is you want to actually put these colors into your swatches palette. And the easiest way to do that is go to your swatches palette. All right, go to your little hamburger menu there to the right, and then you can either say select or add selected colors. All right, if these blocks are selected, or if they are not selected, then you can go and say add used colors. So either way, they will now be inside of your swatches palette. What I like to do next is actually select them and then just make a new group, so that I know that these are actually the colors that I'm going to use for this illustration. Now I can actually delete my little blocks, okay, because now my colors are in there and I can actually go ahead and start to draw. The next step is to actually, as I said, to make this a template layer. Okay, so it is in layer 1. So what we need to do is we are going to go to the drop down again, a little hamburger, and we're going to say template. Why are we making this a template layer? Well, first of all, when I make it a template layer, it is locked. All right, the layer is locked, so I can't really move it, which is really great. I can't also draw on it. You'll see that you've got your strike through pencil there. You can't draw on it. But what is really cool is if I go onto my Y mode, all right, my outline mode, you'll see that there at the top. If I go to my outline mode, then I am seeing exactly the same thing, which is great. And you'll understand why this is so cool in a minute. Okay, so then to start drawing, I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to call this layer background. And I'm going to start by drawing this really big pink square. So I'm going to go onto my rectangle, and I'm going to just draw the big square. Now, if I go to my outline mode now, you'll see I'm in outline mode there at the top. Seeing it, I'm in outline mode. Then I'm only seeing a block. All right. But what is great is I still see my actual artwork, which means that, you know, you can actually draw in the Y mode without not really worrying about colors too much. I'm now going to lock this background layer as well. And then I'm going to start by drawing the actual icon. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to double click on layer 3 and I'm going to make it icon 1. Okay, I'm going to zoom in now a little bit. And now I'm going to start by actually choosing my rounded rectangle. And I'm going to start by drawing my white backplate. All right. And obviously it's a rounded rectangle. So I'm going to click and hold on my, let's do that again. Click and hold on your little circles there to actually increase the radius of that corner. And now we're going to eyedrop the color. Also, we can do that. We can eyedrop the color on the shape and it will fill it. Or we can actually go to our swatches palette and we can choose that lighter color that we've done already. And if I go back, if I go back, oops, wrong key. If I go back out of my Y mode, then this is what you will see. So remember that if you work on the Y mode, it's actually just quickly to draw objects on top of each other, but you don't actually see the color fill, or you don't see the stroke colors. You actually just see the lines, which sometimes is just easier. So I'm going to go back into my Y mode. All right. Next step is I am going to draw this inner circle. So I'm going to start with my ellipse tool. Now you can see the actual X there, which is in fact the center point. So I'm going to hover over that, hold down my Shift and Alt so I can draw from the inside out. And I'm just going to make sure that it kind of fits that space there, my big inner circle. And then obviously I'm going to use my little arrows to just make it fit nicely. All right, and now I'm going to fill that with the pink color that I have already chosen, or again I can just use my eyedrop color and I can choose. But now do you see that if I choose my eyedrop color now, I don't know if you've seen, but this color in the foreground is much lighter, and that's the problem with drawing. Listen carefully. That's the problem with drawing with colors that you select off a template layer. All right, let me say that again. Colors that you select off a template layer is 50% lighter. So that is why I chose the color before I started. So if you source a color from a template layer, it's not going to be 100% correct. It's going to be much lighter. So I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to choose that darker color that I have sampled from the beginning. All right, which makes it a lot more correct. Okay. Next step is I'm going to draw the bigger circle. But now the easiest way to do that is actually to go to Object, Path. Then we're going to choose an option called Offset Path. Now, if I choose Offset Path, I can actually, in a way, duplicate this circle, either make it bigger, right, or make it smaller by choosing Offset Path. So if I offset path by 10 pixels, that's to the positive. If I put the preview on, it's going to give me another circle. And what is really beautiful about that is the two lines up perfectly. All right, do you see that? They line up absolutely perfectly. Obviously, 15 is too little, so I'm going to go to 15, put your preview on and off, and boom, there it is. probably not 100% right. So I'm going to go 17, preview on and off, preview on and off, and there it is. Okay. All right, fantastic. Now I'm going to say okay, and now I'm going to fill it with a gradient. So the gradient is going to go from a very light pink to white. All right, see that? Okay, so I'm going to press G, and I'm going to bring up my gradient palette. All right, and I'm just going to click inside of this kind of gradient tool there to apply a gradient. Again, if I go out in the Y mode, I've obviously applied the black and white standard gradient. All right, so I'm going to hold on Alt, very important. You've got to hold on Alt or Option. I'm going to click on the first color stop, and I'm going to choose the lightest pink inside of my swatches palette. And the white stays white. If I go out in my Y mode, however, I see that the angle of my gradient is not correct. So I'm now going to choose, I think it's minus 90. Oops, no, 90. And now the gradient is correct. All right, so again, if we go back into the Y mode, then we'll see the gradient is from a light pink to white. Got it? Okay, fantastic. Going to use my offset path again to get a bigger circle that's going to fit this area here. I'm going to go to Object, going to go Object Path, I'm going to go to Offset Path again. This time I know that it's much bigger, all right, going to put my preview on, and I'm probably going to select, let's say 22, preview, right, probably let's try 25, preview on and off, and there's my circle. Fantastic. And say okay. If I go onto the Y mode again, I see that my radius is incorrect. So now I know that it's minus 90. All right, and Bob's your uncle. Right, so now I've got my 3 circles, I've got one, I've got another one. But the nicest thing also about drawing with offset paths is that, in fact, it keeps the hierarchy of top, middle to bottom, if you know what I mean. All right, so I don't have to send stuff to the back because it actually just kind of remembers it very nicely. All right, I'm going to work on the inner circle for now. What I'm going to do on the inner circle, in fact, do you know? How do I get that darker area there? Anybody? Yeah, I can hear that you're saying, yes, you know, yes, you know. Would that be an inner shadow? Yes, let's try that. So to create an inner shadow, I'm going to go to Effect. It's a little bit different from in Illustrator. So I'm going to go to Stylize Inner Glow. I'm going to make it normal, and then I'm going to choose this kind of like darker color, the darker pink. All right. You can't go out and touch a color, which is quite annoying. So I'm just kind of try and match it and say okay. All right, I'm just going to say okay for now, and then I'm going to go and whoopee-doo, there it is. So although I've chosen rather an inner glow can also work like an inner shadow. So don't think that you can only do it as a lighter color, you can also do it as a darker color. All right, so I'm going to do an inner glow. Now, what if I want to change the settings of the inner glow? Because it's a little bit tinier. Oh, a little bit tiny rather. Okay, so here is a very important palette for any effect in Illustrator. And this is this one, and it's called Appearance. So it's a rounded circle. Circle is round, Anka. It's a circle with a dotted line. All right, so I'm going to click on my Appearance palette, and there you'll see Inner Glow. So just remember, if you've added any effects on any shape, all right, and you want to amend it, whether it is a drop shadow, whether it's rounded corners, whether it is a zigzag on lines, etc., you will always find it in the Appearance palette. So I'm going to double click on my Inner Glow, and then this window will pop up, and I can now actually change the blur. say to 10 pixels, and it will become a little bit bigger. I can also change my actual opacity to 100%, and it will be darker. All right, and if we do edge and center, you will see, I'm gonna make that 25.